Hello and welcome to episode 126 of the Mouses Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse. My co-host Miss Poppy is once again not with us. She's been a bit up and down, so she did have quite a busy day yesterday. There was a lot of chasing about in the garden and sitting in the sun, so I think she's having a rest day today. First of all, I must apologise if you can hear the sound of water running. Ewan is in the shower literally right above my head, and I've waited for half an hour for him to finish and he still hasn't, so I just thought I'm just going to record and to hell with it. I've already had a bit of an accident this morning with my eyebrows. I do use, it's like an eyebrow mascara in sort of a light brown, and today I did my eyelashes. I don't wear a lot of makeup. I maybe use a bit of concealer under my eyes and a bit of mascara if I can be bothered. Maybe some eyeliner and a bit of eyeshadow if I want to look fancy, but mostly I don't put on makeup at all. And this morning I did my mascara, and then I picked up what I thought was my eyebrow mascara, and it wasn't. It was the one I'd just put on my eyes. So I now have nice black eyebrows. I did try and wipe it off, but in the end I just thought, oh, what the hell. It was the fashion not so long ago. At least they don't look like I've put them on with a Sharpie, so I'm just going to live with it for the day. What can you do? Well, I suppose you could take it off and start again, but I couldn't be bothered. I really don't care that much. Right. I've got a finished object that you didn't even know that I'd cast on. I showed you a skein of yarn last week and said that I was going to dye it and cast on a hat for this. It's the Lonely Hearts Club Knit Along 2024 by Nomadic Knits. I think this is its 4th year. Yes, established 2021. It's a different pattern each year, and this year's had some dip stitches. So it was supposed to be cast on the 14th, which was last Wednesday. I dyed the yarn on Tuesday afternoon and it still wasn't dry on Wednesday, so I didn't cast on till Thursday, and then I finished it on Friday. So this is mine. I have foolishly put my hair up. I had to put my hair up because I was having a hot flush. It was down. You'll have to use your imaginations. I can't let it down again. I'm still overly warm. It's DK, and I couldn't decide what colour to do the background. I knew I wanted to use, these are leftovers from my shawl, so that was one colour. That was another colour, and then in the middle I've blended them together. Because they are 4-ply and this is DK, I just held them together excuse me, which meant I could blend them in the middle. So I dithered about, should I go grey or should I go undyed for the main body of the hat, and in the end I went for this colour, which may be coming out grey. There are grey tones in it, but I'm calling it mushroom. And I've got a little jacket, a little light jacket that I wear a lot because it's good for just throwing on over a jumper when you're going from a car into a building, you know. It's not waterproof, it's not padded, it's not warm, but it's just an extra layer. And it is pretty much that colour. It's sort of a fawn. This is maybe a bit more grey. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I don't know if it's quite variegated. But I don't know if that's coming out. I can't really tell. So yeah, so that was a new cast on and a finished object all in 2 days. Not bad. On the subject of finished objects, he's just turned the shower off. excuse me, on the subject of finished objects, I'm imagining that Belinda is going to draw from the topping out mal on this coming weekend, which is the 24th and 25th. I was very thrown then, because I'm looking at my diary and the ribbon was across the 2 on 24, and I was thinking it can't possibly be the 4th of March this coming weekend. I've had a bit of a trying couple of days. I'll tell you about it later. Yes, but that won't be from the finished object thread. I don't know why that reminded me. Caroline, put your coffee down. It's started. It'll be from the chatter thread. So if you've got something that you want to get into the chatter thread, even if it's not finished yet, because we don't want finished objects in there, on the Mouses Makes page on Ravelry is the chatter thread and the finished object thread. Get it into the chatter thread before this weekend to be entered for a pattern prize. Finished objects into the finished object thread before the end of March. I think that was clear. It was clear in my mind. It may not have been clear for you guys. Anyway, linked below is Belinda's podcast. That's the place to go if you want the proper information, rather than relying on me because my brain is addled, clearly. I've also cast on some socks. I told you last week that Peter had asked for some socks, and he picked out 3 balls of yarn, and I started with this one. This is Rico Superbe Melange Jacquard. The colourway is 002, and I did a thing. I told you my brain was addled, okay? I've been using a lot of 4-ply for my blankets and holding it double. And what I've been doing is drawing from the inside and the outside of the ball or the cake, however I've wound it. Well, I did that for these socks, because I'm knitting them concurrently. I think that's the right word. Might not be. State of my brain at the moment. So I've got 2 socks on the go, and try as I might, I could not make them match. You all know why they won't match, don't you? See, if I do this, I can make them match. No amount of trying is going to make them match otherwise, because I've started one from the beginning and one from the end, and there's a pattern. So that's what I tell you, completely addled at the moment. So anyway, I don't think he's going to mind. I finished the legs. He used to wear, I'm sure he's grown out of it by now, but he used to wear odd socks all the time. At least these are the same sock. They're just in 2 different directions. Yeah, I've just put the markers in for the heel. He likes an afterthought heel. That fits him really well. In fact, his socks I make exactly the same as Dave's. And it fits them both fine. What I've done this time, which I don't normally do, might be easier to see on this sock, is I've put in markers for the rows, not because I'm knitting them according to the number of rows, but because I want to make sure they're both the same and there's no oh, I forgot to do 10 rows on one of the socks. It's happened before, and I'm trying to prevent that happening again. So every 10 rows I've put in a marker just to be sure they were the same length, which they are, even though they are not the same, because one goes up and the other goes down. I could have kept quiet and said it was a design feature. I could have said I had this brilliant idea for knitting 2 socks that are what do they call them? Not twins, but siblings, and one's going to go up and the other one's going to go down. I'm not even going to try and pull the wool over your eyes, because you'd see through it straight away and go, the woman's a lunatic. She forgot that you can't do that with a patterned yarn, which is the truth of the matter. So next time, they're all striped yarns that he's chosen. Next time I will wind them into 250 grams rather than go one up, one down. Honestly, what can you do? I think this is going to be quite a short one today. I've shown you my finished object and my 2 new cast-ons, and the only other thing I've got to show you is this scarf. This is the Morrison scarf. Looks desperately around for pattern. This is the Morrison scarf by Jackie Verbeek, and it was what came out of my little pot of leftover whips from last week. Last week I was there. I'd done that much, and since then I have done this much, so almost as much again. I think I sort of wound it around my neck and tried it. I think I need to finish this section and then do another 2. So I've got that much more to do. Then put on the other cuff at the other end, and then it's done. The yarn is mostly from my Moonlight Fibre advent. All the background colours are from Moonlight Fibre, and all the slip stitch colours are until here. And what I've been doing, you may or may not notice, is the slip stitches have been blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue, and I ran out of yellow. So I had a hunt through my not small stash of odds and ends, and I came up with these. So plenty. I've got another yellow section to do after this one, and then the last section will be a blue slip stitch section, and I think I've got plenty for that, because if I remember rightly it uses about 5 grams per section. I'm halfway through this section and I've still got all of that, so slip stitch wise I've got plenty. I've wondered about what other colours to put in, because I took some of the colours out of the advent and put them aside because they didn't fit in the, how can I show this all to you in one go? They didn't fit in with the palette terribly well. There was an orange, like a burnt orange. It's beautiful, but doesn't really go in with the others. So I've got, after this one, which I don't know if you can see, is kind of royal blues and purples, I've got 2 more to go in, and I think, where is it? I think it's this one next with yellow slip stitches, and then this one with blue slip stitches. I do have another ball, this one, but I'm undecided whether to put those 2 in and leave this one out. Either would work. I'll wait and see. I've got to really make the decision. That's going to be the last one, so I've got to make the decision when I finish this section, really, whether it's going to be followed by pink, and I think maybe not, because this section was pink, or whether it's going to be followed by that one. Might be this one. whatever's left will be going into my crocheted hexagon blanket, which I haven't started yet. I need to finish a couple of blankets before I start anymore. And actually that reminds me of something. Yes, I did buy some yarn. I did buy some sock yarn. And a couple of people have taken me to task about that because I said I wasn't buying any yarn. I didn't actually say I wasn't buying any yarn. First of all, slightly tongue-in-cheek, sock yarn doesn't count. Everybody knows that. Read the small print. Secondly, I only bought yarn to replace what I've used because I've got 3 balls for Peter's socks. I used a ball for Dave's socks and a ball for my Musselburgh. So I bought 2, one for Dave's hat, so that was being used straight away, which is in my policy. I can't think of the right word. And then I bought 3 balls, so I've only replaced what I've used. The extra ball is being used straight away in Dave's hat. So when I said at the beginning of the year I wasn't going to buy any yarn, I did say unless it's going to be used straight in a project. So you can't tell me off anymore. Thank you. That is the end of the public service announcement. I'm almost certainly going to have this finished before next week. It takes me, depending how much time I have to work on it, about a day to do a section. So I will certainly have this finished by next week. So I thought what I might as well do is draw for the next project after this one. I'm not going to draw a blanket. Let me get this out. The orange pieces of paper in my little pot are blankets. I'm not going to draw another blanket until I've finished the staff blanket, which will probably be in about 10 years' time, because this brioche is taking a million years per row. But I can draw another yellow piece, because this is the piece with Morrison scarf in that I drew last week. Advent scarf, it says. That's the Morrison scarf. So I'm going to draw another yellow piece. I'm a little bit anxious. I always feel really anxious about what's going to come out, and I don't know why, because they're all things that I want. So I'm just in a bit of an anxious mood at the moment. I'll explain all in a bit. It's my autumn summer sorbet sweater. That's quite good because that means I can wear it. I shall find that. I'm going to pause you while I look for it. Okay, I have it. It's in this bag. This bag has a history. It was originally given to me by my friend after her mum died. It was her mum's knitting bag. And the fabric that it was made of, I mean, it was probably older than me. And the fabric was really sort of falling to pieces. So I remade the fabric of the bag and used the handles, and I was quite pleased with it. I'm still quite pleased with it, and it means that every time I use it I think of my mum's friend. It's a bit complicated. My friend's mum. I've known her since I was 17, she was 16, and I was going out with her brother, and I used to spend a lot of time at their house, her being my friend and him being my boyfriend, and her mum and I used to sit and knit in the evening like 2 little old ladies. So it's really nice to have her knitting bag, even if it has been kind of revamped. Right, shut up waffling and get on with what you're supposed to be doing. So this is a tea, and it's called the Summer Sorbet. Yet again, I've taken, well, I haven't taken a black and white picture. It's printed a black and white picture. I don't know how well you can see it. Not very well, I don't think. Sorry. It's by Lee Amber Knits. And I've got a couple of these on the needles. You know what I'm like when I like something. It's knit top down. It has these little raglan seams even. I'm probably halfway to splitting for the sleeves. That looks a bit tight there. And I think, if I remember rightly, you can leave the neck as it is, like a rolled neck, or you can pick up stitches and put on, is it a rib or a garter? I can't remember. I will probably do that because that's too wide. So I'll probably put a little rib on it just to hold it in a little bit. The yarn I'm using was some reject really from the Year of Yarn last year. This was July's Year of Yarn, and it had too much of the burgundy. I was just a bit heavy-handed and got splotches rather than speckles, so I kept that batch for myself, and I'm knitting this, and I'd forgotten how much I loved the colours in it, and it's pure coincidence. I've worn this sweater today and the colours are very, very similar. I should tell you what this is really, shouldn't I? This is a Sirdar. Or is it Stylecraft? I've knit it loads of times. I'll put the this is possibly the classiest podcast on the internet today. I will put the pattern underneath, and not the pattern, not the whole pattern. I'll put what the pattern's called underneath, and if I remember, because let's face it, this is not going well today, I will put it on the screen here. Last time I looked, you could still get it from Wool Warehouse, I think. But you can probably find it somewhere. I've had it for years and years and years, and I've knit various things from it, adapting it and doing stuff, because it's knit in pieces, just a basic raglan. There's a sweater and a cardigan on the pattern, so the scope for doing your own thing is huge. And for this I striped yarns, clearly. They're all Stylecraft. They are mustard, gold, gingerbread, copper, burgundy and khaki. And yes, I do mean khaki, not khaki. Khaki. Thank you. I'm in a slightly combative mood today. Have you noticed? Anyway, I will be starting that once I've finished the Morrison scarf. I'll be getting on with that. Now he's having a go next door. Bless him. Someone's knocked on his door. I don't know if you can hear him, the big dog next door, who I love. If I could get away with stealing him, which is not very practical, since they can see into my garden and I can see into theirs, they'd know straight away where he'd gone, wouldn't they? Just talking nonsense now. Yes, someone's rung his doorbell, I think. Now he's getting yelled at. It's been a stressful weekend. Ewan has suffered an injury. I won't go into gory details, though if you want gory details you can message me. He went out Friday night after work, finished work, went out with a friend, or to meet a friend and the friend's girlfriend. They'd been there longer. He didn't get there till sort of 10 o'clock at night because he didn't finish work till 9:30. They had a row. Friend stormed off with girlfriend's keys and phone. Ewan spent the next probably 4 hours trying to get the poor girl home because she didn't know, she doesn't live here. She was staying with the boyfriend, didn't know how to get to his house. They were walking all over for hours and hours. Ewan had a shoe full of rum and coke because somebody had spilt a drink down his leg. Ewan doesn't drink. It wasn't his drink. And he's ended up with the most horrendous blister I have ever seen. The next morning, he said, "Can you have a look at this?" before he got in the shower. And I took he'd put like a dressing strip on it. I took that off and I felt ill, and I am not squeamish. Until it comes to the children, I'll take any amount of blood and gore and everything. But when it's the boys, I get really, really squeamish. And I said, "Oh, you need to go to minor injuries with this." It covered the whole of the back of his heel. No word of a lie, it's like that big. Anyway, he was determined he was going into work. So I dressed it as best I could, because I thought the minute he puts a shoe on, it's gonna burst. He couldn't even get a shoe on. So I said, he rang into work and they said, "Go to minor injuries." And because they'd said it, you know, who listens to their mum? Anyway, I said, "Right, we'll go to minor injuries." Got in my car wouldn't start. Not only would it not start, the driver's seat was soaking wet. So apparently there's a drain, because the way it was parked, it's kind of a tangent within a tangent, this one. The way it was parked, the bit of the roof lining that was wet that had dripped onto the driver's seat was the highest point, and that's what I couldn't understand. But Dave thinks that the drain was blocked, so that it runs through like the pillar down to the wheel arch. Anyway, he's cleaned all that out. He's charged up the battery. We should be good to go, because I've got the hospital on Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So anyway, car wouldn't start. Minor injuries is too far away to walk, even if he didn't have. All he could get on were Crocs. And it was raining. So he rang a friend who's the husband of my friend. They all go to the military fairs and stuff together. And he came and he took him and they dressed it, and he still can't get a shoe on. That was Saturday. Today's Tuesday, as I've just said. He still can't get a shoe on. So by being a gentleman and doing a good deed, he's lost out on a week's work. He's on antibiotics because it burst when she was redressing it, which have upset his tummy. So even if he could get a shoe on, he couldn't really go to work. And that, together with the fact that I've got the hospital on Thursday, which is nothing to be worried about. I've just spent the last few days in a high state of anxiety for no reason at all. I blame the menopause. I see it all over the place that, you know, menopausal women suffer from anxiety, and I haven't really until now. And now I'm just a bag of nerves about everything. So anyway, that's my tale of woe. I don't think I had anything else to tell you. And really, that's all on top of Poppy, which she should be better by now and she's not, so that's stressing me out. But yeah, now I've moaned at you, I'm going to go away and go on Zoom and moan at my friends, who at least can sort of answer back and tell me to shut up. You don't get any choice. Well, I suppose you can just turn it off, can't you? Anyway, I'm desperately looking around because I feel like there was more. I should have told you. I was going to show you how much yarn I got. Oh, it's gone in. How much yarn I got left from my hat. Quite a lot. It's 100 gram skein of 100% merino. And there's quite a lot left. But not enough to do anything with, I don't think. So, don't know. I could dye some more up, couldn't I? And make a cowl that would match. Because I've still got some more of the leftovers from the slip stitchy bits and my shawl. So I could do that. Or I could make some mittens. I don't know. I'll think of something. At the moment, it apparently lives in there. So, that's definitely all the rubbish that I need to tell you. And so I am going to go. And I will see you next week. Definitely nothing else to tell you. Might even have some finished socks for you next week. And a finished scarf. I shouldn't make promises I might not be able to keep, should I? I'm just going to go, and I will see you next week. And until I do, have a lovely stress-free time. Bye, guys.